Fish Out of Water by Sue Village. It was early one morning, and while still sleeping, I thought I heard a noise outside my bedroom window. When I opened my eyes, it was still dark outside. I laid there for a few minutes, savoring the beautiful dream I had when I heard the noise again. Was I awake or still sleeping? Dreaming? What kind of noise woke me? I don't really have dreams that I remember, but this one was so real. In it, I was younger with the body of a 12. That's 2 points more than a 10. I was standing at the edge of a cliff in Mexico, getting ready to do a perfect swan dive into the crystal clear aqua blue water. My arms were spread out like wings. I was in mid-air when I suddenly noticed a fish, a really big fish, with its mouth wide open, ready to receive me. It was actually beckoning me to dive into its mouth. I never made it into the fish's mouth because, like I said, the noise outside woke me. I had been dreaming all along. The moon was unusually bright when I peeked through the Venetian blinds to see what the noisemaker was, and I got a shock of my life. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I live in a house on an acre of land with a river running through it. As I was saying, I looked through the blinds to see if I could find the noisemaker, and there it was, standing up on its tail on the edge of the creek. A giant fish. The fish in my dream. There it was, beckoning with its fin to join him. Suddenly it held up a sign that read, "I'm a fish out of water, and I need your help." I wondered what that meant, and said to myself, what the heck? I might as well go see what it was trying to tell me. I thought it might be my next-door neighbor, Jeff, who sometimes has a little too much to drink and loves playing pranks on me. He's a funny kind of guy with a warped sense of humor. Only he would have a fish costume in his closet. So I put my rubber slippers on and walked outside toward the river's edge. I can tell you, with both hands on a Bible, that it wasn't Jeff. There was something about the way that fish looked at me. I was feeling hypnotized, almost zombie-like. The fish said his name was Mauricio. An unusual name for a fish, but why not? Mauricio was fit. His skin was taut. His eyes didn't bulge like the fish I've seen in the supermarket, or the ones I've caught. I'd say he was at least 6 feet tall, from the tip of his tail to the top of his head. I thought he'd make a very nice fillet, but then thought differently. Oh, and his scales were really shiny, which I thought was very attractive because they made his blue eyes sparkle. He held out his fin, and I swear to God it was like holding a hand. He actually had a thumb and a good grip. Then he wrapped both arms around me. Fins, and in my ear he whispered, "You feel real nice." I thought maybe I should slap him, but then sometimes scales feel slimy, and besides, I hadn't heard a compliment in a long time. I should have worn a wetsuit instead of pajamas. Mauricio told me to take a deep breath, so I sucked in all the air that would fill my lungs, and before diving underwater, he asked for directions to the nearest ocean. Before I could say another word, we were underwater, and with the speed of light, we were on the move. Just Mauricio and me. I suddenly discovered that I could breathe underwater. But why? I reached behind my head and I felt gills. Mama often told me I must be part fish because I love to swim. And then we were almost at the point of our journey where the river meets the ocean, the estuary. With my finger, I pointed straight ahead to the line in the water where the river and the ocean merge. Oh, great, I thought. How am I supposed to get back home? Just then Mauricio turned to look at me and said, "You have the capability of living in either on the land or in the ocean. Why not do both? Come with me." What he said was so tempting, but I realized that everyone I loved was at home. I didn't want to give that up. Besides, I knew nothing about Mauricio. He was attractive, and because of his size, he was obviously smart enough to elude dangers in the deep. He seemed to like me now, but what about later when I became more waterlogged? Mauricio might want a younger mermaid. Sometimes what sounds good is not. Just when you think life at home is boring and you need a little adventure, it's best to stop and think more than twice. A person's needs are different at one stage of life than at another. Maybe Mauricio isn't the only fish in the sea. Patience is more than a virtue. Rushing into deep water, so to speak, is not always good. You've got to be able to feel the bottom to feel safe and secure. You can't float forever. If I go to the ocean, there is always the chance that a bigger fish will want me for dinner. Just then, the alarm went off. As I rolled over and put my hand on the button, it brought me back to reality. I looked up to see the sunshine through the Venetian blinds that I had looked through in my dream. I smiled and said, what I learned from Confucius, or maybe it was on a piece of paper my bubby put into her caniche. Important decisions in life shouldn't be made in a hasty moment. What would you do?